H1 audit. The work on historical financial statements to get reasonable assurance this engagement is known as audit. The work on historical financial statements to get limited assurance is review. Other than that, standards on services are no assurance. The financial statements should give true and fair review. It may have some mistakes, but it's not big that affects the decision of users. It should be free from material misstatement. 3 parties involved under assurance services: responsible party, intended users and practitioner. Check it's according to standards. Audit is related to historical financial information, whereas practitioner may provide assurance not necessarily related to historical financial information. An appropriate subject matter. It refers to the information to be examined by the practitioner. For example, financial information contained in financial statements while conducting audit of financial statements. Suitable criteria. These refer to benchmarks used to evaluate the subject matter like standards, guidance, laws, rules and regulations. Sufficient appropriate evidence. The practitioner performs an assurance engagement to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence. It is on the basis of evidence that conclusions are arrived and an opinion is formed by auditor. Sufficient relates to quantity of evidence obtained by auditor. Appropriate relates to quality of evidence obtained by auditor. One evidence may be providing more comfort to auditor than the other evidence. The evidence providing more comfort is qualitative and, therefore, appropriate. Evidence should be both sufficient and appropriate. Element of assurance engagement by कोई sufficient suitable subject matter दिखाओ मुझे written report लिखनी है. 15.5 Standards on quality control. Standards on quality control, SQCs, have been issued to establish standards and provide guidance regarding a firm's responsibilities for its system of quality control for the conduct of audit and review of historical financial information and for other assurance and related service engagements. Audit is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit-oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form, when such an examination is conducted with a view to obtain opinion thereon. Audited financial statement users are investors will check profit sales ratios, profit of equity ratio, creditors solvency ratio, debt equity ratio. To invest money, shareholders are existing investors checks audited FS to evaluate financial performance of the company, whether he should continue to invest in the company or not. Banks, financial institutions to lend money, government for the assessment of taxes, also to provide you grants, subsidies, etc. Trade union or labor union checks. FS, hammer मांगे पूरी करो. To get increment in salary, hammer pass पैसे ही है high DSKTE check the FS audited, independent audit report. To negotiate wages, insurance companies settlement of claim, it's just an illustrative list, so as a chartered accountant is one of the builder of nations. Responsibility hai, vigilance. The audited financial statement must not mislead anybody. It must be clear and unambiguous, properly disclosed and classified, only then it will not mislead anybody. It should be sufficient, has relevance, amount must properly describe, transactions must be clear. True and fair must free from any material misstatements. Reliable and sufficient honi chahiye. Scope of audit, it should cover all the aspects relevant to financial statement. Information of FS must be reliable and sufficient, and it should be properly disclosed. Check underlying accounting records and other source data. Study and evaluate accounting system and internal control by carrying out tests, inquiries and other procedures. Info properly disclosed. Check statutory requirements and judgments of the management. Consistent application of policies. Not in scope of audit, I, which is outside the domain of competence, like physical valuation of goods, or checking physical condition of property, wo engineer task hai. Audit is not an investigation. Goal of auditor is to do audit, not investigation. Investigation and audit is different. Investigation is done with preconceived notion that there is some suspicious or misleading activity going on, while audit is general. Reasonable assurance audit, review moderate or limited assurance, other services no assurance, absolute not possible. Inherent limitation of audit. Nature of financial reporting, judgment by management, subjective decision, uncertainty, internal control, also management responsibility. Internal control have its own limitation. Nature of audit procedure, audit evidence to use of litigation practice not legal, practical is there is voluminous of transaction, so audit is done on sample basis, so no 100% assurance can guarantee it. Also legal limitation, as auditor cannot do investigation. Audit is not an official investigation. Timeliness of financial information and decrease in relevance of information over time. Benefit or usefulness of information is reduced over time. Future events, future is uncertain. One cannot guarantee that the organization will survive in upcoming future, as with time controls hence new addition of products etc. Na fire hai, na alu pranta, alu na chai obleinc, time pr feri lagain niaor time ke saath relevant book, financial information, bhi kilometer hogi, ab future me change. Engagement is what? Any work which has been assigned. Engagement is performed on historical financial statements, which has happened in past time period. Benefits of audit. It helps in detection of fraud, errors. Keep a moral check on accountant. Three users of audit are government, shareholders, bankers, and lenders. Provide quality information to users on which their decisions are based. Review operations of control which help them determine deficiency and weaknesses. Audit is derived from word, aud, from Latin language which means to hear. In past people used to hear their accounts from their employees. In Indian reference written Kola Arthashastra in 4th century BC. First Controller Audit General in 1860 BC. ICAI is set by an act in the Parliament in 1949. Auditing and accounting. Auditing reviews the financial statements which are nothing but a result of the overall accounting process. Auditing and law. An auditor should have a good knowledge of business laws affecting the entity. Auditing and economics. Auditor is expected to be familiar with the overall economic environment of the client. Auditing and behavioral science. Knowledge of human behavior is essential for an auditor to effectively discharge his duties. Auditing and statistics and mathematics. Auditor is also expected to have the knowledge of statistical sampling for meaningful conclusions and mathematics for verification of inventories. Auditing and data processing. EDP auditing in itself is developing as a discipline in itself. Auditing and financial management. Auditor is expected to have knowledge about various financial techniques such as working capital management, funds flow, ratio analysis, capital budgeting, etc. Auditing and production. Good auditor is one who understands the client and his business functions such as production, cost system, marketing, etc.
ये हमने सारा रिवीजन कर लिया 1 सेकंड में. अगली वीडियो में हम देखते हैं कि जो ये नोट्स में हमने पढ़ा है वो बुक से जो मैच हो रहा है सारा कुछ, और बुक से सारा कुछ मैच हो रहा है. अगली वीडियो में करते हैं. जस्ट